Welcome back, everybody. I've got a follow-up video for you. If you haven't seen it already, there is a video that I posted a little while back about building a wireless acoustic pedal board. And mainly the reason for that was the company Xvive sent me their product that is the P58. And that is a wireless guitar unit that is fantastic, worked well. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. But it's also a tuner. So I decided what would be cool. It didn't really have a place on my electric board because I'm running a buffer, and tuner is like in the middle where the volume pedal is, and that's coming out of that channel. So really the tuner is not the first thing in my chain. And so I decided, hey, you know what? A little acoustic board might be better for this build. And so I did. And so we have it here. There's a video all about it. We're going to showcase it, but it's right here. I'm going to use it in just a second, just for the sake of this video. And it worked great. You know, we talked about building it. There's a few things that hindsight looking at, wish I would have checked out. This power supply, this Hyrie or Hyrie power supply, while it looks cool, it's very sleek and black, it is really noisy. And I didn't realize that recording here until I was actually playing live, and just realized that there was some low frequency ground hum that was coming. Other than that, it's very good, and I've had very good success out of the compressor and the A factory. So the purpose of this video, if you saw the thumbnail, maybe you figured it out, but we are going to be talking about these. Or this. It's one product, but it's multiple pieces. This is the Xvive U45. I don't know what kind of in-ears you use. For me, I've used all sorts of stuff. I've started with Shure SE215s, and then, I had some ME audio stuff from Amazon back in the day before, KZ and BASN and all these other manufacturers started coming out with their better versions of universal audio style in-ears. I did switch to a custom mold in-ear shortly into my guitar career, I guess you could say, in the space of playing live. This was, again, when there was not such a saturation in the market for universal fitting headphones. Last year, I went back to Eau Claire and I got a new set from them with new molds. So I got new molds done. So I use these 6-driver Eau Claires, and they fit and sound great. They do a great job of canceling noise. This is not, however, a video to promote you buying super expensive in-ears if you don't want to. I feel like we have so much more available, whether it's KZs or BASNs. For a while, I actually had a backup pair of 6 drivers from BASN that sounded amazing. I did get a little bit more ear fatigue with those. I don't really get ear fatigue with these because they're molded to my ear. On the topic of in-ears, right, I wanted to kind of talk through this product, the U45, and, maybe sway you to go check it out. There are some things I want to bring up, though. This was given to me. This is not a paid video. This product is just sent to me to try out and then keep and use, and that's it. There's no pre-script I'm given or anything like that. This is 100% my honest opinion. So let me just kind of give you a little bit of a breakdown of our setup here for in-ears. We use the Allen & Heath ME1s, I think is what they are. So this is a Ethernet style in-ear system. And so we're sending a ton of data, and it's all stereo if we need it to be. So we're not limited on channels. So a lot of our instruments at my church are stereo. And so, I'm used to hearing in stereo here. What I normally use when I'm playing electric, which is a stereo rig, and I want to have all that separation. I've got, amps that are similar but different. So there's a little bit of a sonic, kind of atmosphere that I'm used to. And I use this. It's from Eau Claire. It's their IEM plug. Very nice, high quality. It's just, you plug it in, stereo, and then you've got this little like belt hoop click thing, a little carabiner. and that's great. I love the quality of it. The first place that I actually used this was for I was going to do a video about it and make that this video was the service that we did where I was going to play with the wireless acoustic.
Tears turn to praise, chains of depression, they're broken by grace. When I start remembering how good you've been. Come on, say it with us. You've been so good to me.
First thing I'll say is this, and I'm going to showcase it right now. Out of the box, what you get are these 3 pieces and, a little charger. So you've got your transmitter that can plug directly into XLR, or they also provide this XLR to 1/4 inch. Very nice of them to do that because most of us are going to be playing on 1/4 inch systems. And then obviously the receiver, and all these things feel very, very high quality. And so, for me, I needed to use that night. We plugged this directly into the back of our rack where we were doing our bus sends for all of our signals, and it worked flawlessly. So I'm just going to walk you through how I did it. I didn't do any tweaking or any type of crazy setting up. I just plugged it in. Now for this time, I am using the 1/4 inch that they've provided, the adapter, and that's it. So there are 2 things. There's aux or there's line. And for this, I'm going to be running a line-based one. So we'll plug that directly into the headphone out. And then we'll turn this on. Power. Now, granted, if these have come unsynced for any reason, then that's probably why it won't automatically connect. But without any touching and any fiddling, I have already connected. I can hear what I'm recording right now through this mic. So now I am wirelessly receiving the signal from my interface. And so you've got a couple of things. Obviously, you've got your channel selections. That's where you'd want to make sure that both are connected to the same one. I've just left mine on 1, and I've had 0 issues with it. And then you've got a volume knob where you can tune on here the volume, as well as the volume of, if you were plugged into the ME1, you have volume there. So for me, generally, I keep it right around full. Unless I need to take it down for a little bit. So let's talk about the perspective of use for me and where I first started using it. That was, with acoustic. One of the first things I was a little nervous about was if I was going to get any type of, maybe interference or any type of weird connection if I'm using both systems here. Right there, just to prove both in use. That was how I used it that night. And as right now, I had zero issues, which I think is super cool. And that was also, I should say, in a room with multiple other instruments, multiple other wireless signals happening. And so the next thing I noticed was the range. I had full access. We were in a full-size gym that we had transformed into a sanctuary. And so I was walking all over the place. I was working at the sound system with our sound guy, trying to tweak some stuff and listen to some stuff. Both systems at the same time, while I was holding my guitar and wearing this wireless pack, I had no problems whatsoever. It was fantastic. For me, this system, these 2 things together, wireless acoustic with wireless in-ears, if I'm ever singing or if I'm, just wanting to simplify the rig a little bit, this is so good. I didn't feel like there was lag or delay in both systems. So my playing It felt like it was responsive. I felt, I could play very well. There wasn't a loss of signal. And that's also because you can choose, buffered or non-buffered on this output. And then here, I was receiving really good signal. I could, have a lot of headroom. I felt like I could really dial it in. And so I had no problems whatsoever. And so for me, these two things together are a game changer when it comes to acoustic and playing. If I'm ever singing, that's one thing. It's very nice to be separate, but also just for me in that sense, being able to walk around and just anytime you can simplify your setup, it's so much nicer. The second place that I experienced this product and started to use it was I wanted to see what it felt like on my electric rig. So just like I did with the worship night in our gym, I just brought the 3 products. Didn't really think much about it. And this time I did use the adapter because, like I said, our ME1s are 1/4 inch. So as normal, I just, wanted to see how simple this was for the everyday average user. So I got to practice and I plugged it in. And guess what? It worked. It transmitted the signal that I was producing from my ME1. And I, again, was like, whoa, this is so cool. It felt nice. I was really, not having to worry about being tethered to something. It was super cool. And this would be the one thing that I will say as not as a way to deter you from buying it, but just something to keep in mind, something I didn't really think about until I stopped and was like, oh, that makes sense. So it's not a bad thing because even your high-end wireless transmitters have this as well. And this is a mono system. I don't take back what I meant. I think this is a fantastic system and I plan on using it. And I even have used it since that day on electric, knowing that it is not a stereo system. The only thing that means for me is that my stereo effects, I'm not hearing that in stereo anymore. And so if you've got any type of atmosphere built that you're used to, you're going to bring that back, and it's going to be a little bit more center. Did I have any issues? No. Did it change the way that I played? No. It was just a preference thing. But for the sake of just wanting to know, wanted to test it out. And so I actually wore it all service. That way it just was easier to keep on and I could turn off and on. And again, in a large sanctuary, all the way from the back of the platform, all the way to our sound booth, which is almost the back of the sanctuary. That's the only reason I started losing signal was because I was putting something in between. It was a wall that I was going around our sound booth to the doors. And that's the only time that I started to drop signal. The second that these two things were in line with one another, it immediately checked up, and it was, again, perfectly good audio that wasn't interfering with anything. So from my experience, again, I think this is a phenomenal product and I would highly recommend it. For me, where I feel the use is best fit would be something that I'm already doing mono in. Don't have to have any type of crazy stereo effects going. And where I'm going to need it the most, right, is a little bit more hands-free. The ME1 is a fantastic unit for musicians. And so for me, yes, not being tethered to something that's right next to me is cool, but not like an absolute game changer. Where this is a game changer for me is in a rig where maybe you're already being sent, or could be sent a wireless signal from a sound man, like I did. They could just plug this in, change if it's line or aux or whatever, and they can choose to send you a bus signal straight to this system. That is a really good case use, and that's kind of how we use it with our youth services. I'm a youth pastor. I do a lot with them, and I help them out with their church, their worship, all that stuff, on top of leading and preaching. And so for me, in that case, it makes a lot of sense to use it because we're not in stereo. I don't have an ME1 that's right next to me. The only option that I would have as a band is to have an XLR cable that comes out and then have the little Behringer PM1s that are like a personal, basically volume monitor. And it's essentially doing what this is doing. It's an auxiliary send through XLR to a little powered unit where I can turn the volume up or down. And that works. But this is so much more convenient. I would highly recommend it. Both products have been absolutely insane. I think they've done a really great job of honing in on a really robust product in this line of wireless systems. And so whether you're looking for a guitar or whether you're looking for more of the in-ear style, I think both have amazing places within worship, and you should try both of them out. If you don't care about losing maybe a stereo signal and you want to have a little bit more freedom as a guitar player, then by all means use this. I've seen people use this on like a P16 or an IEM or like the ME1. Again, both products are great, but this video specifically is centered around this product, the Xvive U45. And again, I can't say nothing but good about it. And just the charging is nice, USB-C, very easy to charge. Both products are USB-C. They're very small and convenient, but very well built. Like I feel like even if this were to fall off of my pants or out of my pocket or something, it would survive. The belt clip is very large and very well built. It's tight. So if you're looking for a nice budget-friendly system to kind of toy with maybe some wireless transmission, both products are great, but in this follow-up video with in-ears being kind of the focus, I think you should definitely give these a try. To end it, you know, again, it doesn't matter what you're using. You know, yes, I've got custom molded 6-driver in-ears. And I know guys that have 6-driver universal in-ears that when I put them in, they sound just as good. So just get something that works, that fits your budget, and, you know, have fun. You get to experience that side of things in a different way than I did. I didn't have a lot of these options growing up, playing, learning to play. So try it out. But again, thank you so much, Xvive, for sending me this and letting me use it, try it, talk about it. And to you, hands down, recommend. I would go try this out, see if it fits in your repertoire of music, and give it a shot. And if you have any questions or want to know anything about this that I didn't say in this video, comment below. I really love answering comments. It's actually one of my favorite things about trying to build a little YouTube channel. Isn't necessarily the videos per se. I do have fun making those, but I love getting to talk to you and meet real people. There was a video that I did, one of the pedal board videos, and one of the comments was from a local guy here in St. Louis. And wouldn't you know, I was at a coffee shop one day, and this person recognized me and walked up and asked if it was me, and got to meet him and talk to him and just see how his guitar playing was going. So I love answering your questions, and if there's something I haven't said, let me know. I'd love to talk about it. And until next time, have fun, keep learning, keep playing, and I'll see you in the next one.